course, we have this huge geomagnetic storm that is taking place, and I got the ability to talk to the NOAA Space Prediction Center, and they have the latest information about how it's going to impact Earth and the Northern Lights.
I'm Sean, Service Coordinator at the Space Weather Prediction Center, because we have a very rare event on our hand. The last time that we issued a G4 watch, which is a geomagnetic storm watch for severe levels, that 4 level on our 1 through 5 scale was 2005. We have a high confidence that a series of coronal mass ejections, which are blasts of energetic particles and magnetic fields that depart the sun, are directed right towards Earth. Some are catching up with other ones. So our level of confidence is high that we will have an arrival of this CME, or the beginning of these CMEs, as early as this evening, Eastern Daylight Time, kind of later in the evening perhaps. But the timing is, there's less certainty with the timing, so keep that in mind. If we do reach the G4 levels, the level of response could mean that there could be some infrastructure effects, but we have notified all of our infrastructure operators that we coordinate with, such as satellite operators, communication folks, satellite operators, and of course the power grid here in North America. So they are able and prepared to take mitigation efforts as much as possible throughout this event if it should unfold to the levels that we currently are anticipating.
The next question comes from Ted Merrill from WOAY TV. You may go ahead, sir.
Okay, so I have a couple of questions here. First of all, will the aurora potentially interfere with the visibility of the International Space sighting, which is expected in my area early Saturday? That's just one question. And the second question correlates these CME events and auroras with the solar cycle. There appears to be some sort of a relationship between the CMEs and the aurora borealis occurring during and just after the peak of the solar cycle, such as the 1859 Carrington event in solar cycle 10 that Sean mentioned a little bit earlier. More recently, the Halloween storm in 2003, which occurred during solar cycle 23. And then in the current solar cycle 25, we've had a couple of them. So do you expect additional strong CMEs and auroras to continue over the next couple of years as we reach the peak of solar cycle 25 and then head towards the end of the cycle? And it also appears that the sunspot numbers have been exceeding forecast guidance since the start of the solar cycle 25. So is it possible that in a couple of years we could see a repeat of the 1859 CME event and aurora before the current solar cycle 25 ends in a few years?
You know, we've looked very hard, we meaning here at SWPC and the entire scientific community built around the space environment. We've looked very hard at what the probability of another event like the 1859 storm is. And we've seen percentages ranging from 2 to about 12%. In terms of the solar cycle performance so far, relative to the prediction, it's been outperforming the prediction, the initial prediction anyway. But we've been kind of updating that as we go. Which is kind of a new thing for us. We used to put one out at the beginning of the cycle and pretty much leave it alone. But now we're trying to do a better job of updating. Because as Sean mentioned earlier, the atmosphere, the thermosphere and ionosphere, those changes related to the solar cycle impact satellite operators, particularly those in low Earth orbit. So they're interested in keeping an up-to-date idea of where things are going with the cycle.
And the International Space Station is always up there. It's just a matter of when we can see it down here in southern West Virginia, either early in the morning or later in the evening. And yes, they did answer my question. The aurora will be strong enough, the light from it, that you would not be able to see the ISS. And speaking of the aurora borealis, the KP index right now is 7. So we will clear the skies out later tonight. We should be able to see the aurora borealis locally. And if you want to hear more of my discussion with NOAA, you can go to our website to find out more information. We are back with more news after the break.